Hello everybody, I'm Jude and this is Lammy, and together we are Little Lamb Tales. And remember, you can always tweet about us on Twitter or join us on Facebook and see what we're getting up to all the time. This week we've just had Easter, so I thought we'd have another story about a rabbit. But this rabbit, let me tell you, is a naughty rabbit. He doesn't listen to his mummy, and because of that, something very awful very nearly happens. This is the story of Peter Rabbit by Beatrix Potter. It goes like this. Once upon a time, there were some little bunnies, Flopsy, Mopsy, Cottontail and Peter, and they lived with their mummy, Mrs. Rabbit, in the sandbank. One day, Mrs. Rabbit said, I need to go out and get some things. Now you must stay together and be good. Stay in the paths along where the blackcurrant bushes are, but do not go in to Mr. McGregor's garden. Your father went there once and he ended up in a pie. A terrible accident. You must stay well away. And off she went. Now Flopsy, Mopsy and Cottontail were very good little bunnies, and they went to the roadside and they picked blackberries and blackcurrants and they had a lovely time. Peter was very naughty. And he went straight to Mr. McGregor's garden and he squeezed underneath the gate. I know, Lammy, isn't that naughty? When he got in there, he looked around. Oh, there was some lettuce and he went over to that and he ate the lettuce. Then he saw some French beans. He ate those too, and some radishes. And after that, he felt a bit sick. So he tried to find some parsley to settle his tummy. Well, as he did, he came past the cucumber frame. And there, at the end, was Mr. McGregor. Mr. McGregor was not very keen on rabbits, and as soon as he saw Peter, he jumped up and yelled, "Stop, thief!" And he ran after him. Peter ran as fast as he could, and he scurried and he scurried and he scurried. And as he went, he lost one little shoe in the potatoes and one little shoe under the bushes in the corner. And after that, he could run a lot quicker. And he ran and he ran and he ran. And just as he thought he was going to escape, oh no! His lovely blue coat that his mummy had put on him that morning got caught in a net and he was tangled up. And he lay there, oh no, Mr. McGregor's going to get me now. And he could hear Mr. McGregor coming closer. Some little sparrows flew down. He said, come on, Peter, try really hard. Pull, pull. And so Peter pulled one more time and was able to get away. But he left his poor jacket behind. And Peter ran and he ran and he ran and he ran straight into the shed. And he jumped into the watering can, which would have been the perfect place to hide had it not been full of water. Splash! Peter was inside the watering can, feeling very cold and miserable when he heard Mr. McGregor coming into the shed. He's in here somewhere, said Mr. McGregor, and he could hear him lifting up the flower pots to check. Peter's nose started to twitch and he got a tickle in his throat. Achoo! And of course Mr. McGregor heard him. There you are! And poor Peter had to jump straight out of the window and he ran as fast as he could. Mr. McGregor could not fit through the window and he was sick and tired of chasing after Peter, so he went back to the garden to do his work. Peter ran and ran, but no matter how he tried, he couldn't find the way out of the garden. I'm never going to get home, he said. Oh, he was ever so upset, and he went to stand by a door, but he couldn't get out, it was locked. I'm going to be here forever. And he stood and he looked, but all he could see was the pond with a white cat sitting there with its tail flicking. Peter had heard bad things about cats and he thought the best thing to do was probably to avoid him. And so he crept past the pond, keeping out of the way of the cat, still trying to find the way out. And he stood up on top of the wheelbarrow. There was the gate. But in front of the gate, Mr. McGregor. Peter had to take a deep breath and be very brave and he jumped down and he ran 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 and he ran. And as he scurried and ran, he scurried right past Mr. McGregor, who said, "You again!" and started to chase him once more. But Peter did not stop this time, and he ran and ran until he got to the gate, and he squeezed his way right out and headed for home. Mr. McGregor found Peter's jacket and little shoes and made a scarecrow out of them to keep the birds away from the plants. Peter ran all the way home and lay on the floor in front of the fire, trying to catch his breath. Well, I'm sorry to say, Peter wasn't very well that night, and while Flopsy, Mopsy and Cottontail had a lovely tea of blackcurrants and blackberries and lovely things, poor Peter had to go to bed and have chamomile tea instead. And I hope now he's learnt his lesson. The end. Well, Lammy and I hope you enjoy that, and we hope that you listen to your mummies when they tell you what to do. We'll see you next week for another story.